So I just got the Wolverine Compass, which is a new kind of hiking boot that's actually adjustable, so you can change the arch setting, you can change the cushion or the firmness of the boot based on what kind of activity you're doing. And I got these because I tend to use my hiking boots for a lot of different activities. Sometimes when I'm just standing a lot, like if I'm going to go out to a convention and be walking around, I feel like it gives me more support. But then I also go on long like backpacking trips and stuff, and I mean these boots are just like super rugged. They've got the gore-tex, they've got great tread, although it's not Vibram, which I've talked about in the past. So again, this is the Wolverine Compass right here, and here's a little sort of overview on the, I guess it's like the compass dial, you could say. It's that little like circular thing right there. So you pull out the insole, and basically you adjust this thing to these different settings here. So it's support, outer support, firmness, and cushion. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. There's the compass right there. So right now it's set to C. Interesting. So there's the, it's like a jelly disc. It's pretty cool. And then here's the, so when it's all set up in the boot to begin with, I think this is at C. It goes like that. It goes like that. So that's really what you're standing on in the boot. And then there are some instructions right here. So it says ICS, comfort, individual comfort system. F is firm. C is cushion. I is inward. O is outward. And that's for your arch, basically. And then there's also, this is sort of rubberized right here as well. So to start with, this was set at C, which is cushion. And if you look at the ridge on C, it's like the tallest and pointiest. The exact opposite of that is firm. So if you spin it all the way around to F, that's like the shallowest bump here. And the pattern here on the shoe it can accommodate, you know, the pointiest one. So I imagine if I'm gonna kind of reverse this, if you set it to firm, see there's kind of like a gap there, and it's basically just solid. You know, it's not going to give you as much cushion. Whereas if you set this to like C, comfort, there's a lot more like give right there, and it's actually filling that space more. And inward, so like inward, it's sort of a medium. And then on the side it's really pointy, and on the other side it's really hard, like firm. So this is like somewhere between cushion and firm, and I think it kind of adjusts the shoe to be like squishier on this side, and then it creates that inward shape for your feet depending on your arches, or outward. It's the same kind of thing. There's O, outward, so it's pointy on this side, shallow on this side. And that's kind of cool because like I also do bike riding and kung fu actually. And they talk about, like, if you're in the horse stance, if you can see on my foot right here, it's kind of like lifting off the ground a little bit. I'm putting more pressure on the outside of my foot. And for hiking or bicycling as well, and for some people, like your knees, like as you're walking along, if your shoes aren't supporting you and your knees are in like this, that can start to hurt. Not everyone has to do this, but sometimes it can help, again, especially on bike riding, if your knees are sort of angled outward a little bit, and that comes back down to how your foot connects. So Specialized has shoes that have built-in sort of like little shivs or whatever that kind of like slant your foot out, and so that's what these shoes can do. They can kind of like naturally tip the insole this way, or in my case, I kind of like to tip it this way. So that's really cool. I'm definitely going to check that out. So I've just finished adjusting both of the compass dials in there. Both of them are set to O, which means outward, so again it's going to kind of naturally be squishier on the outside and firmer on the inside, which is going to kind of, you know, help my feet do that, which works with my knees. Again, the really cool thing about this is there's like two levels of insoles in here. There's the hard plastic one at the bottom where the compass is, and then above that there's just a generic one, right? Just kind of a foam. And the cool thing is you could put like a super feet in here still if you prefer that sort of molding to your feet, or if this starts to wear out. So it's not like, I don't know, I just think it's neat that this is like kind of fully featured, and you can still integrate other products with this shoe in addition to the compass settings and stuff. So I'm back. I've been trying out the Wolverine compass, and I've got some good feedback here. So the first thing to start out with is the compass and how that actually works. And I went over that before, but I do notice a big difference. And you know, honestly, it's mostly in the heel, because that's where the compass is. The rest of the shoe doesn't change a whole lot, but they're very comfortable, and they're also built really well. You know, a lot of like metal pieces here that are very rugged, and the laces pull very nicely, and the gore-tex works great. So you're not going to get your feet wet when you're wearing these. And I feel like, you know, the type of hiking you do with these is in the 10-mile range, and maybe with a light pack. But I couldn't see myself going on a really far backpacking trip, just because when you actually put pressure on and you tip forward, see there's a lot of bend here, right there, and so the front of your foot, I mean, that's going to give you a good feel of the trail. When you're hiking around, you're not going to slip as easily, that kind of thing. But on a longer trip, like you're gonna wear your feet out. It's gonna get kind of tired, you know. And the tread is really good and grippy. But again, I feel like these are like 10 to 15 mile, not a huge pack on. But that's what most people do. That's kind of like your day trip. Go camping, carrying stuff, but you wouldn't want to overdo it. I mean, this isn't like a trekking type of shoe. But that's perfect for me. That's the kind of hiking I do. So yeah, that's, you know, I'm kind of, I'll put this, I'm going to try a new shot. Put this down here, and you can kind of see. And this is it right here. That's the bend. And you can just see it the whole way is bending in here. And again, that's excellent for comfort and grip, you know, if you're trying to stay on a rock or something. But you can imagine if you're carrying a pack all day like this, your toes and just the front of your foot's going to get tired. And that's not just with this shoe. This is with any shoe that's kind of a lighter, not as stiff. But yeah, and I have sort of wider feet, and I found that these are really comfortable, like right around here. I'm not feeling that pinch, you know, that tightness that sometimes you do with other shoes. So yeah, it's an awesome shoe, and I'd recommend it, definitely, if you're looking for something that has some adjustability, and that's going to be great for those day hikes.